Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a 4 looks, 1 palette video using the ODEN'S Flora Story palette. This is from the Perfect World collection in collaboration with Makeup Just for Fun. As of the time I'm filming this video, this palette is still in stock, so you can still get your hands on it if you wanted it. And I'm just having so much fun playing with these ODEN'S Perfect World palettes. I posted my 4 looks, 1 palette with the Sea Talk palette a few days ago, so I'll have that linked down in the description below for you if you'd like to catch up on that one. In today's video, I've come up with 4 unique looks using this palette. Some are more dramatic, some are more everyday, including the one that I'm wearing now. So if you would like to get some inspiration for how to use your Flora Story palette, or just some different color combinations to play with from the eyeshadows that you already have in your collection, then just keep watching. Okay, so for look number 1, I think I'm actually gonna do a similar thing to what I did in my 4 looks 1 palette using the Sea Talk palette from this collection, and do the same variation of a look in different colors on each eye. So using the same general structure and placement of the look, just in different colors, I think I'm gonna do purple on this eye and green on this eye to just show you a really easy kind of everyday throw-on look that you can do if you want to go for a monochromatic purple or a monochromatic green. So let's zoom in and get started. So I have not actually primed my lids with an eyeshadow primer. I just have a little bit of concealer on and some face powder to set my lids. That seemed to work well last time I used one of the ODEN'S Perfect World palettes, so hopefully that works well today. I'm gonna start with the purple look, and I'm gonna take the lightest purple matte called Azalea through the crease of my eye. So you all will have to let me know when I do 3 looks 1 palette videos, do you prefer if they are 3 kind of easy everyday more wearable looks, or do you like to see people really kind of push the limits of the palette to make really unique looks? Because for myself personally, I follow people who do both of those things. Like, I follow people who just show their everyday looks, like if they were gonna use a palette to wear an eyeshadow look to work or something, what kind of looks they would throw on for that purpose. And then I also follow people who are more interested in like creating really unique, bright, kind of out of the box looks and really pushing the versatility of the palette. So I don't know, I feel like I try to do a mix of both, but I would be interested to hear if you all have a preference. Okay, I've got that crease shade built up pretty nicely, so I'm gonna take Orchid to Deepen, which is the deepest purple matte in the palette, and I'm just going to use this to deepen up the outer corner. So obviously the look that I'm showing you now would be the kind of look that I tend to go for with neutrals and with color. I love monochromatic looks with color because I feel like it's a really nice way to play with color while still creating something pretty easy to wear and just kind of soft glam. So that's my go-to when I work with color usually. But I also really like playing with other kinds of placement of eyeshadows and pairing different colors together. So I do a mix. But this look that I'm showing you now would be something that I feel like you could get away with for everyday life, depending on your comfort level with color. So just going back into the shade Azalea to blend out that edge a little bit. This is also a really quick look, so if you wanted to do something colorful but you were short on time, this is the kind of look I would tend to go for. And it's a 1 brush look too, which is always handy. Okay, that's a good level of depth for me. So I'm gonna go into my favorite companion product when working with these palettes, which is the NYX glitter glue, or glitter primer rather. I feel like everybody always calls it the NYX glitter glue, so that's just what I say. But the technical name is the glitter primer. You can use this with a brush, but I think for this look, I don't really need to be super precise, so I'm just gonna take a little bit on my finger and put it primarily on the inner part of my eye, but also a little bit onto the crease and outer corner, just to prep for shimmer and make sure we don't get a ton of fallout, which is something to be mindful of when using this palette. So on my finger, again, I'm taking the shade Magnolia, which is the purple shimmer in this palette, and just pressing it onto the glitter primer. This is such a pretty purple shade. Just stunning. Just honestly, such a stunning shade. I think this one might be my favorite shade in the palette. Just so pretty, like, I don't know. I love the silver sparkle that a lot of these shades have because it just makes it so impactful and special without looking like every other purple shimmer you would find in your collection, you know? And then super easy for the lower lash line, I'm just gonna take some more of that shade Orchid and connect up to the outer corner, just on the same brush we were using. I'm actually just gonna tap the very edge of that shimmer just to make sure we didn't lose all of that outer corner depth. And then I'll take a little bit of Azalea just to blend that out. And there we have look number one before mascara. So let's repeat those same general steps, but this time in green on the other eye. So for this eye, I'm gonna start with the lightest green matte in the palette, the shade Clover. This is a very sheer shade in this palette, so I'm using a slightly fluffy blending brush still, but it's a little bit denser. This is just a random Ulta Beauty brush. But if you want to build up the color of this shade, I would recommend using something a little bit denser just because it does build quite nicely, but it can be a little bit sheer. But I love this color green. It's almost like an avocado green. How would we describe this green color? I'm not really sure. Okay, and then to deepen up the outer corner, I'm taking Sage, which is the deepest green matte, and just starting to build that up. This is another really interesting shade. It's sort of olivey, but very neutral. I think that's why this palette is especially appealing to a lot of people, because it does color in a way that still feels slightly neutral. I think it makes it a little bit less intimidating and also a little bit more grungy as well. Going back in with Clover just to blend out a little bit. Okay, and then exact same thing, so taking a little bit of the NYX glitter primer over the inner portion of the lid. Look comes together so quickly, even quicker if you're using the same color for both eyes. And I'm gonna take my finger into the shade Misty, which is out of all the green shimmers in the palette, it's medium in depth. So it's not the lightest and it's not that deepest teal that's in here. So still light and really pretty and sparkly. It did get a little bit of fallout under my eye, but that was actually my fault because I was not being as careful with my finger application as I should have been. And then just back in with my same brush and the shade Sage, I'm just going to tap over this outer corner. Make sure we didn't lose any of her pretty depth out there. And then I'm gonna take that same shade up underneath the eye. I tend to go about 3/4 of the way. I like to leave this part open just to make sure that my eyes look really open, but of course adjust to your own eye shape and preferences. And then I'm gonna take that lighter shade Clover and just blend it out. And there you have it. So let me go put some mascara on and then I will be back to show you the finished looks. Alrighty, so here is the finished purple look. And here is the finished green look. You'll have to let me know in the comments down below which side you would rock, the purple or the green. I think it's honestly kind of fun to have a two-toned eye. If you really wanted to wear this out, I think it would be really cute to do like a purple eyeliner in the waterline of this eye and a green eyeliner in the waterline of this eye. I don't know, just a fun way to spice up your makeup. But obviously, if you just wanted to do a monochromatic look, this is a really easy way to wear that with this palette. I feel like this is the kind of eye look that I would wear anytime, all the time. Love it. I love these particular shades of purple and green too. They feel very comfortable to wear. They're almost a little bit neutral. I mean, purple and green eyeshadow almost are neutrals for me in my collection just because I love wearing those eyeshadow shades so much, but I think if you are new to color or you're just starting to play with color, that either of these options might be a little bit more comfortable for you to wear too. So that's everything for looks number 1 and 2. Let me now pass you over to look number 3. Okay, welcome to look number 3. So I think I'm going to play with this teal shade Lush right here. It's a really interesting shade because I found when working with it that it sort of leans either more blue or green depending on what you put it with, and so I kind of want to put it over the purples and just see what it looks like. So let me zoom you in, and I'm actually going to start the same way that I started the purple look for look number 1. So I'm going to put Azalea through the crease. Except I will do it on both eyes this time. I'm filming all of these looks in one day today, or I'm trying to, so if you see sparkles or leftover mascara on my face, that is why. These multiple looks, one palette videos are so fun, and they're also like, I find them really useful to watch myself, so I really like making them. But it does take a toll on the old eyelids if you do it all in one day, but they take so much time otherwise, you know, it takes like multiple days to film one video if you spread it out. So I'm just gonna see how much my eyelids can take today and hope for the best. And be sure to use a really good eye cream tonight. Okay, I'm thinking that looks pretty even, so I'm going to dip into Orchid again, which is the deepest purple matte. And I'm going to put this on the outer corner, but I'm actually going to bring it in a little bit further. So more like the outer half of my lid. And blend that up into the crease. You could use a denser brush for this part, but I made the mistake of not washing my brushes last night before sitting down to film this video. So I washed them all this morning and some of them are still damp. So I'm working with limited brushes, but I think you would get a stronger color payoff with a denser brush than the one that I'm using. I'm using a Spectrum in KJH 17. So it's a little bit softer and fluffier, but it's gonna get the job done one way or another. I do just love how buttery smooth these shadows are. They just blend into each other really well. Going back into a little bit of Azalea just to blend this out even further. Okay, and then back in with my NYX glitter primer. I'm going to keep this very inner part of my lid bare for the moment, but I am going to go ahead and apply this all over the inner part of my lid and up into the crease a little bit as well. Mainly because I have hooded eyes, so I like to put my shimmer a little bit higher so that it can be seen at least a little bit when my eyes are open. Okay, so I'm going to take that shade Lush on my finger and put that in the middle of my lid and over top of the purple as well. I just really like the way this shade looks over that darker purple. I think it just looks really cool and mermaidy. Is that a word? Mermaidy? If it's not a word, it should be. Okay, and then on the inner portion of my lid, I'm gonna take the shade Magnolia again. And then I'm just gonna take a little bit of Magnolia into the shade Lush and switch back to my finger that had Lush on it and just try to blend those two together. And then just going back in with my blending brush around the edges. I'm going to tap a little bit more of Orchid on the outer corner again. And then I think for the lower lash line, I'm going to start with Orchid to connect up to this outer corner. And I might put a little bit of glitter glue on the lower lash line as well and put some shimmer down there. Okay, so just a little more NYX glitter primer, and this time I am going to use a brush just to be a little bit more precise in that lower lash line area. Just going to put that up to meet that purple matte on either side. I'm going to take my pinky into the shade Lush. And put that through the middle. And then the shade Magnolia through the front part. All right, so let me go put some mascara on and then I will be right back to finish out look number 3. Okay, so here is the finished look number 3. I love that we started with like 2 easy, everyday, monochromatic, colorful looks that are still really wearable, and then in this look it just went completely dramatic, total mermaid vibes, just on the other end of the spectrum. But I love that you can really go there with this palette. I think this look came out really fun. I love the way that that teal shade pairs with the purples in the palette, and it's definitely not a color combination that I would typically pair together, but because of the way that this color story is laid out, my eye just always gets drawn to this teal being right next to the deeper purple matte. So yeah, what do you all think? Would you wear this? I don't know, something about this is almost giving me like Mardi Gras vibes. The mermaid vibes are definitely there too, but for sure a more dramatic and more colorful, punchy, bright look. Let's see what I can come up with for look number 4. All right, so for my last look, I really want to play with this multi-chrome. At least I think it's a multi-chrome called Dawn. Another really cool shade in this palette that slightly changes depending on what colors you pair it with. So I think I'm going to go in with some greens on the lid and then put Dawn all over everything and see what kind of effect that gives. So let me zoom you in and we'll get to it. So I'm going to start with Shroom, which is the neutral brown in this palette, and I'm just going to put that through the crease. Again, the brush situation is less than ideal, so I would love to be using a big fluffy blending brush right now, but I'm using a tiny fluffy blending brush, which is fine, it just takes a little longer. Okay, so that's a nice transition shade. I'm then gonna take the shade Clover, which is that lighter green matte, and I'm going to pack this onto the lid. I'm just gonna take a little bit of shroom to just blend at that edge. And do the same thing on the other side. I feel like this is a really pretty look for spring. Something about this green is just, well, really the whole palette gives me spring vibes. It's like bright and fresh, but still very soft looking, which I like. Just with the same brush, I'm gonna go into a little bit of sage, which is the deeper mossy green, and I'm just gonna put that almost as like a little bit of liner out here for a little bit of definition. And then just softly blend that into the lighter green. Want a little bit of depth right at the lash line here. Okay, and then I'm actually not going to go on with the glitter glue this time because I feel like for multi-chromes, I don't want it to show up super bright white. I kind of want it to be a little bit more sheer, just over top of these mattes. So I'm just taking my finger in with the shade Dawn. I don't know if you can see that there, but there's some shifts to yellow and orange, but also to green. So I'm thinking when I put this over the greens, I think it's gonna light up the greens and just make it look really pretty. So let's see how that looks. I'm just literally taking this over top of everything that we just laid down. Wow. I don't know if the camera is gonna do that justice, but oh my gosh, that is so pretty. It definitely still shows a little bit of the orange as well, but it's picking up on the green. And there's a little bit of a gold to it too, which looks gorgeous. So basically obsessed with that shade. I really hope you can see in the camera just how pretty that is because it is so, so stunning. So to finish up this look, I'm going to take Sage on my lower lash line. And just re-emphasizing that little outer wing here. I'm going to blend that out with a little bit of Clover so it looks soft. And then for my inner corner, I'm just going to take the shade Best Buds on my pinky finger. No glitter glue, just trying to be careful, and place that on the inner corner of my eye. And I might just bring it down a little bit to wrap around to meet those mattes on the lower lash line as well. I think that looks really pretty. Wow, okay, I think all of my Forest Fairy dreams just came true with this look. That multi-chrome is everything. Okay, I'm obsessed. Let me go put some mascara on and I'll be right back to finish out this video. Okay, so that is the finished look number 4 of this 4 Looks 1 palette. I'm loving how this look came out. I'm so happy that they put the multi-chrome in this palette because it just gives a burst of hot pink and orange and gold that the palette wouldn't have otherwise, and so that opens up so many more possibilities for looks. I think this multi-chrome would also look stunning over the purples as well. So that's definitely another look that I will be trying. But I feel like I'm definitely embodying the Forest Fairy vibes of the palette with this one, and I had a lot of fun creating these looks. Can't wait to dip back into this palette again. Let me know which look was your favorite down in the comments, and also if you have this palette and you've been playing with it, let me know which combinations have been your favorite that you've come up with so far. I hope you all enjoyed this video and got some inspiration to either play with this palette or with similar colors in your collection. If you enjoy my content and would like to see more videos from me, I would love if you would consider subscribing. It does mean so much to me. Thank you to everyone who has already subscribed and those of you who are liking and commenting on my videos. It really does make me so happy to get to hang out with all of you on here and chat about makeup. If there are any other palettes you would like me to do a multiple looks one palette video with, also let me know that in the comments down below so that I can get planning for my next video. But until then, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!